Training camp is about to kick off, and honestly, there's more drama brewing in Costa Mesa than most people realize. While everyone's focused on the usual suspects, I'm seeing some deeper issues that could make or break this season before it even starts. Before we dive into the real problems, let me ask you this. Which of these training camp storylines do you think will have the biggest impact on the Chargers' playoff chances? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I have a feeling most of you are sleeping on the real danger zones. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. Let's start with the elephant in the room, Rashawn Slater's contract situation. Now, I know what you're thinking. He showed up to minicamp, everything's fine. But here's the thing, that's exactly what they want you to think. The fact that Slater missed OTAs for the first time in his career, that's not nothing. That's a statement. Sure, he came back for minicamp, but compare that to what's happening around the league. Michael Parsons showed up but didn't practice. TJ Watt completely skipped minicamp. The Chargers are spinning this as a good thing, but I'm not buying it. When you're looking at a deal that's probably going to be north of $100 million with massive guaranteed money, missing any time is concern. The real issue isn't the total contract value. Everyone knows he's getting paid. It's the structure, the injury guarantees, the year-to-year cash flow, all those details that actually matter. And let's be honest, Slater's injury history isn't exactly clean. That bicep injury in 2022, the missed games, that's all going to factor into negotiations. The Chargers aren't just going to hand over a blank check. What really bothers me is the timeline. Herbert got his deal done in July. Derwin took until late August. If this drags into the season, that's a problem. Not just for Slater, but for the entire offensive line chemistry. You can't just plug and play at left tackle if something goes wrong. But here's where it gets really interesting. And this is where I think most analysts are missing the boat. The Tre Harris contract situation is potentially more dangerous than Slater's. This whole second-round pick guaranteed contract mess started with Cleveland and Houston setting a precedent that nobody else wants to follow. Now, we've got a standoff. Harris is supposed to be a key contributor this year, not some developmental project. Every day he misses is development time he can't get back. The Chargers are betting big on rookie receivers. They've thrown 3 draft picks at the position in the last 2 years. If Harris isn't ready because of contract nonsense, that's on the front office. The precedent here matters more than people realize. If second-round picks start getting fully guaranteed deals, it changes everything about how teams value draft capital. The owners don't want another Deshaun Watson situation where one crazy contract ruins it for everyone, but players aren't going to back down either. Moving to the field, this center battle between Zion Johnson and Bradley Bozeman is fascinating for all the wrong reasons. The Chargers clearly want Zion at center, not because he's better there, but because it's cheaper. Let's call it what it is, a financial decision disguised as a football decision. They already declined his 5th-year option. They're trying to squeeze every penny out of this situation. If Zion can play center at even 80% of Bozeman's level, they'll take it because of the cost savings. But here's the problem. Center isn't guard. The mental processing, the line calls, the snap timing, it's all different. Harbaugh says he'll know in 8 to 10 days of camp. That's not a lot of time to figure out something this crucial. If they're wrong about Zion, they're stuck with a weakened offensive line in a division with guys like Chris Jones and Max Crosby. That's not a gamble you want to lose. The Justin Herbert health situation is what really keeps me up at night. Missing 2 weeks of training camp last year, then the ankle injury in week 2, that's not ancient history. Greg Roman admitted they had to bob and weave because Herbert missed time. You can't do that and expect optimal results. This year's schedule is brutal right out of the gate. Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos to start. 3 division games. If Herbert isn't 100% from day one, if there's any lingering issues, if the chemistry with new receivers isn't there, you're looking at an 0-3 start. In this division, that's probably season over. The receiver room is where things get really messy. Quinton Johnston is running out of chances. This front office didn't draft him. They've thrown multiple picks at the position since he got here. The writing is on the wall. Produce or get phased out. I keep hearing about improvement, about potential, about flashes. But when it mattered most, playoffs against Houston, where was he? The Ravens game everyone wants to forget? These aren't growing pains anymore. This is year 3. Either you're a player or you're not. The drafting of Tre Harris, bringing back Mike Williams, these aren't votes of confidence in QJ. their insurance policies. If Johnston doesn't step up in training camp, he's looking at being a fourth or fifth receiver on a team that doesn't throw to fourth or fifth receivers very often. The defensive line rebuild is flying under the radar, but it shouldn't be. Morgan Fox and Poona Ford combined for 60 pressures last year. That's not nothing. Now you're asking guys like Tuli Tuipulotu to be primary edge rushers, hoping Tier Tart can be a legitimate DT1, praying that Jamari Caldwell can contribute as a rookie. Jesse Minter's a good coach, but he's not a magician. If these guys can't generate pressure, it doesn't matter how good your secondary is. Teams will have all day to throw. This whole defense is built on getting after the quarterback. If that doesn't happen, everything else falls apart. The undrafted free agent situation tells you everything about where this roster is. In previous years, UDFAs had real shots to make the team. This year, maybe Raheem Sanders has a chance, but even that's a long shot. The roster is more complete, but it's also more expensive and older in key spots. That's not necessarily bad, but it means less flexibility, less room for surprises. You're betting on known quantities and hoping they stay healthy and productive. In a league where injuries are guaranteed, that's risky. The injury watch list is longer than they're letting on. Mike Williams and Keandre Lambert-Smith both limited in minicamp. Elijah Molden dealing with stuff. When you're counting on these guys to contribute, any missed time is problematic. Williams has an injury history that's concerning. Lambert-Smith is a rookie who needs every rep he can get. If both are compromised going into camp, suddenly your receiver depth looks a lot thinner. Here's my biggest concern about this whole setup. The margin for error is basically zero. In previous years, you could afford to have a position group struggle because you had elite talent elsewhere to compensate. This year, the talent is more spread out, but it's also more dependent on everything going right. If Slater holds out, if Harris misses time, if Herbert gets dinged up, if the defensive line can't generate pressure, any one of these things could torpedo the season. And in a division with the Chiefs, that's not acceptable. The Chargers are in a weird spot. They're good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to survive major problems. Training camp needs to be perfect. The health needs to be perfect. The contract situations need to get resolved quickly and cleanly. I'm not saying the sky is falling, but I am saying there are more landmines here than people realize. This isn't just about installing plays and getting in shape. This is about whether this roster construction actually works when the pressure is on. The next few weeks are going to tell us everything we need to know about whether the Chargers are actually ready to compete or if they're just hoping everything breaks right. Based on what I'm seeing, hope might not be enough. The good news? We're about to find out. Training camp doesn't lie. Players either step up or they don't. Injuries either happen or they don't. Contracts either get done or they don't. For a team that's supposed to be competing for division titles, there sure are a lot of question marks heading into camp. Maybe that's normal. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But in a league where the margin between success and failure is razor thin, these details matter. The Chargers better hope they've got the answers because the questions are about to get a lot harder.